Hi, I'm Dana, and I feel like I look really rough, and I swear I don't feel as rough as I look, but I wore waterproof mascara last night and it won't come off. Like I've used like makeup remover, it won't come off. But anyway, today's topic I've had in mind for a really long time. I've had like my little notes app note with it in, but I haven't been able to think of like the topic name, and it just suddenly came to me this morning, so we're doing it now. So today's video is that for me, a lot of the time being autistic feels like just constantly being contradicted, and it's really annoying. And I want to get into it and give some examples, because I feel like there's some that have just been really big and blatant throughout my life where I'm just like, I don't understand how everyone else is existing in one way and it's not okay for me to exist in that way. Like I don't get it. It feels like I'm in the wrong when no one else is. So let's get into it. The first one is the one that has followed me through from childhood. Like this was a very, very early on one for me. And it's the thing of everyone always told me I was fucking weird, essentially. You know, like kids would tell me I was weird, parents would be like, oh, Dana's quite unique, isn't she? You know, like teachers would do it like different as well. I was constantly told I was a bit different. And I absorbed that and I was like, okay, I'm weird and I'm different and I'm unique. And the moment I was like, okay, I'm weird and different and unique, everyone was like, no, you're not. You think you're special. You think you're so different and special and unique, do you? No, you're not. Shut up. And I was like, I only said it because everyone else said it about me. People kept telling me that's what I was, so I assumed that other people's like perceptions of me were correct. And all of a sudden, when I like adapt that perception of myself for myself, it has some weird implication of a deeper meaning that I think I'm special and better than other people, when it's literally just what they were saying to me. And I don't get it. Like even if it was something I'd come up with myself and just, you know, like as much as other people were saying it, I had perceived the fact of like, I'm different from my peers. I don't act and behave and react in the same way as the people around me. I feel like I'm different from them. You know, it's definitely something I'd perceived and picked up for myself. But even if it was just based on what I'd perceived myself and not what other people had been telling me and saying, I still don't understand how that adds up to me thinking I'm all like special and different and like, you know what I mean? Like I know I'm using the same words that I'm using when I'm explaining it, but it's because they use the words in the same way and I'm like, do they have like different meanings? And apparently not. It's just that the moment I say it, I'm in the wrong and I don't know. I don't get it. It just feels like I'm constantly told what I am and then contradicted when I'm like, okay, I'm that, you know? And another big one for me growing up, like if you've watched any of like, especially my recent family stuff, I was constantly given the verbal message of it's okay to be angry, it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be annoyed, it's okay to be frustrated. Whatever negative emotion you're feeling right now is okay. You just can't show it. You can't act annoyed, you can't behave in an angry way, you can't actually show any of the emotions you're feeling. It's just okay for you to feel them. And I especially learned this because I would react in an angry or annoyed or frustrated or otherwise negative way and I'd get in trouble for it. I'd be told off. But in school with other like with my classmates, with my family, with like even friend situations sometimes, they would get really fucking frustrated with me. You know, they would make me feel really, really bad and really, really stupid and really, really whatever else. And especially within my family, my mum like prided herself on the fact that she would scream at us. Like you would hear her from the end of the road if one of my brothers was in trouble, if I was in trouble. Like if you were out and my mum was angry, you knew from a good distance away because you would hear her, you know? Everyone else got to show how they were feeling and got to show that they were angry, they were this, they were that, and directed at the person that made them feel like that. I was not allowed to show those negative emotions at all, but I was constantly told it's okay to feel them. And it's like, well, how do I feel them without showing it whatsoever? That's a really massive contradiction. I don't get what I'm meant to do with it. As I went into like the handful of work situations that I have and like more professional settings, ones where I am a lot more unsure and a bit nervous and like I don't feel like I know what I'm supposed to do, so I am very much looking at other people and being like, what are you doing? How is everyone else doing this? What's like the norm here? Like I would really like to pick up on what the norm is and just follow it and be a part of it. So I try to do that and I watch what everyone else is doing. And the really big examples that stick out for me here, when I was working at Amazon, I eyed up what everyone else was doing because we had to like put everything that we had on us into like the bins to go through security to go into the actual warehouse and then again coming out. And everyone that I knew was a smoker, so they took their cigarettes or their tobacco, the rolling supplies and a lighter. So I started also taking that through with me. And maybe like every third time, every fourth time, they'd stop me and be like, you're not allowed to take that through. And I'd be watching people currently going through with it, and like I've learned from past situations that you don't fucking snitch. So I'm not like, well, he's taking it through and she's taking it through. But I'm stood there being told off for it, thinking like, I can literally see other people doing the thing that I'm currently being like berated for, you know? And it also doesn't happen every single time. But like, it seems like no one else gets stopped for it at any given moment. And every now and again, like, it wasn't more often than it wasn't, but it was often enough within 3 days that I was like, what the fuck? You know? Like, I only worked there for 3 days. I went back and forth through, I want to say like maybe 8 times a day because of like different breaks and getting there in the morning and leaving at night and stuff. Like, I was going through fairly often, but I was only there for 3 days. I didn't see anyone else get stopped for having smoking supplies, but I did. And similarly, I did a single shift in the kitchen of like a care home type place. And I was there to serve the food. That was my job. That was what I was there to do with like the agency for the day. And I'd gone and I'd gotten there in the morning and started helping them like prepare food and make the coffee and just like very minimal bits of work. I'd then like, it was time for their food, so I'd gone out and served it to them all, came back, helped do the dishes from the cooking, went and collected the dishes from their eating and helped them do those. And I had like another 2 hours left of my shift. Like, the kitchen's clean, you know? Like, there was, the chef person was doing like the stock taking of the cupboard or whatever. Like, other people still had work to do, I get that. But I literally did not have anything left to do. I'd asked like multiple people like, oh, do you want any help with anything? Do you want me to do anything? And everyone had said no. So I was just stood in the corner on my phone. And then I was told off for being on my phone. And they were like, look, I know that like you're new and this is your only shift and everything, but you've got to look busy. And it's like, okay, but I've been busy. I've done my job. I don't understand. Like, do you want me to like just wave around a tea towel? Like, I literally like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. And especially when like some other people have just buggered off for a smoke break and are on their phones outside having a ciggy. Like, I don't feel like me being in the corner on my phone when the job is done and when I'm not even in like a public space. Like, it's not like any of like the family members of the people in the care home are gonna see me or anything. Like, it's only other staff members. Like, there's all of these like unspoken rules that I don't manage to fit. And then the rules that like everyone else decides aren't actual rules, I feel like I still get pulled up for. But no one else is treating them like rules. I don't understand it. And also, if I do treat them like rules, that's when I've suddenly been treated like I'm a little goody two-shoes and I'm a snitch and like everyone hates me because I'm doing the thing you're supposed to do that no one else bothers to do. But if I don't do the thing, then it's a fucking issue. This point feels like it's similar to the first one, but I swear like it has a different vibe for me. Because I went to like a lot of like musical theatre, performance arts types of classes and summer schools and all those types of things as a teenager. And it was one of those things where I would come in with no confidence. I would be like absolutely shitting myself. I would be so fucking anxious. And eventually it'd get to the point where it would come up to like one of my skills, you know? Like, I'm not very good at performance. I'm not very good at actually doing the thing. But I do think I have reasonably decent creative ideas. I like writing, I like coming up with the ideas, I like the planning of things. That's where I very much lay with that kind of thing. So we'd slowly get round to that point and I'd have been like really quiet and in the corner this whole time. And then we'd get to the point where I'm like, oh, actually, I'm quite excited about this. I like this part. I feel like maybe I'm like half decent at it. And I'd start putting creative ideas forward and be like, what about this? What if we tried this? Well, how about this? And people would be like, yeah, that sounds really cool. Let's add this. Let's try that. And like, people would react well to my ideas and compliment me on them and say nice things like, you really think outside the box? Oh, that's a really creative idea. And things like that. And as soon as I'd be like, oh, I think sometimes I have quite creative ideas, people would be like, okay, wow, big shot over here thinks that she has good ideas, wow, you know? I don't know if I fucking sneak around life or what, but I've had so many situations in my life where I just hear people talking about me and they don't seem to know that I'm there and I'm just existing and listening and they... Like, I'm right here, guys. I don't know why you're not noticing me. But I would, like, especially at the summer schools, the first few days I'd hear people saying like reasonably nice things about me, be like, oh, I didn't expect her to have an idea like that, oh, that was good, wasn't it? And then the last few days I'd start hearing people being like, God, she's just not as good as she thinks she is she? Like, she just isn't all that, really thinks that she's all that when she just isn't. And it's like, I just got a little bit more confidence about putting my ideas forward. Like, I just reacted to you praising me and hyping me up, and I don't understand why that's now an issue. I do not get it. And people always, like, I've brought this up to groups and like friends and stuff before, and people always love being like, oh, your ideas were obviously just like so good that they were really jealous. And it's like, no, I'm sorry, like, they were decent, creative, fun ideas. I don't think they were anything good enough to make people jealous. And also, a lot of the time, it was the girls that could do the actual stuff. You know, it was the girls that could dance and sing and act and do the performance and do all the stuff that I wanted to, and that was where they wanted to be. Like, I don't think they were jealous of me. There's just something about me as an autistic person that fucking rubs people the wrong way when they get to know me a little bit. But like, I feel like I've definitely had that in other situations where I've come in very anxious and nervous, and then people have been like, oh no, you are actually quite good at this, and then I'm like, oh, actually I'm quite good at this, and they're like, the fuck do you mean you're actually quite good at this? Who do you think you are? You think you're good at this, do you? I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, sorry for trying to have a little bit of self-worth and confidence. I won't do it again, believe me. I also, like, I know I mentioned I looked rough at the beginning. I don't know why my braids are like they're soft. It's not like I've put loads of gel in them or something. Like, I don't know why they're this shape. It's just what we'd... I'm gonna get myself sorted out, I promise. I won't be looking like this in the next video. I have one that I feel like could come across as kind of controversial. So I cared for my dad for several years, and then I also cared for my nan for several years, and then I also, like, quite more briefly cared for my mother. And every single time everyone would be like, oh my god, Dana, you should become a carer, you're so kind, you're so empathetic, you're so good with people. like that's the thing, is I'm not good with like social settings, but when it's a case of like someone has shit themselves, someone has vomited, this person is in this uncomfortable situation and they can't get themselves out of it, I'm not going to leave them there, am I? Come on now. I'm not going to leave them in that situation. I'm not going to be an arsehole because they obviously already don't feel fucking good about the situation. So I am going to be like, oh, don't you worry about it. It's all alright now, isn't it? We all get here eventually. Like, let's just get you cleaned up and sorted. And everyone would be going off about how, like, incredible at it I am. And I should definitely become a carer because I'm just so great at it. And, like, in my first horrible relationship, I obviously wasn't his carer. But I also did, you know, cook and clean up after him and cook all his meals and wash his clothes, and like, he went to work and everything else I did for him because that was just the decided way of things. And within every single one of those situations, it's like, I'm sorry, but nobody can just keep that up indefinitely at the same standard forever, you know? Especially when like all of those people were either neglectful or straight up abusive, you know? Like, I had multiple times that I'd have an argument with my nan, and then like hours later I'd make her dinner or whatever and she'd just push the whole tray on the floor and just food all over the floor that I'd have to tidy up and make her another dinner. And it was things like that all the time. So especially when that kind of stuff's happening, eventually you kind of lose patience and you kind of lose energy. There would come a point where it would just be like, I don't have it in me to come an hour on the bus to make you lunch today. Like, I'm sorry, somebody else is going to have to do it. We have several other family members, you have friends, that you have actual carers, you know, like, there's people involved outside of me, and I cannot do it this day. And all of a sudden, the people that have been saying how I'm so kind and so empathetic and I'm so caring and I should do this as a career because I'm just so fucking incredible at it, I'm selfish. I'm the most selfish bitch they've ever laid eyes on in their entire life, and I've never done anything for anybody. And obviously, I'm aware that this one is like the familial abuse aspect, but also like, I feel like I've gotten that lesser vibe from people so often where like, everyone else is allowed to have an off day, everyone else is allowed to have a bad day. And when it comes to me, the moment I have a bad day, the moment I have an off day, the moment I have a couple of days of being burnt out, not being able to manage stuff, the time that I cancel an event, I've never put any effort into anything, and I'm clearly just the world's biggest twat. So yeah, we're finishing on the most cheerful note ever, but that's the end of the video. If you want to see more stuff like this, because who wouldn't, it's so fun and cheerful, you're welcome to subscribe. I think liking the video is supposed to help me in the algorithm. I don't really understand how YouTube works, but it'd be lovely if It worked for me. If you want to follow me elsewhere, I do also have TikTok, Instagram and Blue Sky. I still haven't posted anything on Blue Sky, but I am getting back into TikTok, and I like that Instagram's just sort of like my little like personal bit. Like, it's not, but it is. I mean, all of this is fucking personal, let's face it. But that's where I like post the little things that I just like, I couldn't make a full video about like I fed a squirrel. Or, I mean, I did make a full video about meeting Dean Andrews. You know what I mean? That's there if you want to. I also have a Ko-fi and a Patreon, but they are mega fucking optional. You don't have to. It's all good. It's all fine. I'm gonna have to move the sweetest little man in the universe to be able to stop my camera. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you're having a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year. And me and Otis will see you again in a couple of days.